Alright guys, hi, I'm Haley Hassinger, and I'm going to be talking to you guys today about redlining. So redlining is something when banks drew lines on maps and refused to lend money to different people when they wanted to purchase or mortgages or loans to property within a certain boundary. So they couldn't, they drew these lines basically with red pen on the map, and that's basically hence where they got the name redlining. And they discriminated against African Americans and Hispanics mostly. And I got this information from Closed Doors and Opportunities Lost by John Yeager. So, mostly a majority of people need a mortgage and a loan to purchase a house. So that's why this was so important for people to be able to purchase a house. So that's what left most African Americans and Hispanics living in the redlining areas, because they could not afford to live outside of the redlining areas without, they couldn't live outside of the redlining areas without a mortgage from the banks. So this also led to the ghettos within the city, and this also led to urban decays within the city, because they also would not even allow loans to even fix up their houses. So this is just a picture of a city that is really run down, because they wouldn't allow a loan to even fix up the houses within the cities. So the U.S. Congress created the Homeowners Corporation in 1933, and they created this to prevent foreclosures. And their responsibility was to create residential security maps. So I'll show you guys a picture of that in a second. And these maps, there was type A, and those were outlined in blue. And that was the newest, most desirable homes. And type B was outlined in green. And these were desirable areas and neighborhoods, but they were a little less more desirable than type B. Type C was outlined in yellow, and these were declining neighborhoods. They weren't as nice as type A and B. And then type D were outlined in red, and these were more of the risky areas for mortgages, and they were typically located in the center areas of the city, and they were majority black neighborhoods. And this information is based off of the Ohio State Research Guide. So I know most of you guys are familiar with Canton, Ohio, which I hope you guys are. So this is a picture of Canton, Ohio. As you guys can see, the redlining in Canton, Ohio is more towards the city, and it's clumped together. This is where they drew it, right here. And they just drew it all together, and those people were less likely to get a mortgage or a loan. And then the green and blue areas were more nicer neighborhoods and more likely to get a loan, and those were more white neighborhoods. Here's a picture of Akron, Ohio. Just like the same scenarios. And here's Columbus, Ohio. So they have a lot of different pictures of these if you guys research them online. They're really easy to find. And they just show how basically the redlining is just really common in the cities, and just they're really clumped together. And then just as you go out there, you'll find more of the nicer neighborhoods. So why does this tie into waking up white? So in chapter 7, they talk about Mr. and Mrs. Burnett. I don't know if you guys read about that yet. It's a black couple, and they tried to go purchase a home. And when they tried to go purchase a home, it was in the suburb of New York. It was their dream home, and basically the guy said, "No, I cannot sell to Negroes." He straightforward said that to them, to their face. Did not try to sugarcoat it. He did not try to hide it. He said, "It's not me, it's the FHA. One or two non-white families can demolish the value of the home in the neighborhood." So they really did not try to sugarcoat it at all. They did not try to beat around the bush. They were very straightforward in saying that if you are an African American family, you are not allowed to live outside the red zone area. So the American dream is, this is just my opinion, it's all we have ever known as white families. And while families of color have known so much struggle, so I think that's why they can be very opinionated towards it. And every day we live with the benefits of the white American life without ever knowing it. We go to the store and never are really offended with people being accusing us of shoplifting or anything. So I'm going to show you guys this video. I wanted to show you guys this video because I thought it was really cool. It's just another scenario that shows how common it was. It's just like the Burnett's family where this couple found their dream home and they were unable to live in it because they were African American. How did I do this sound?
The sound. Let's see what's coming.
And we walked in and we looked around, and of course, in the eyes of a young man who was raised in the ghetto, so to speak, it was an interesting experience, interesting lifestyle, seeing all the new modern conveniences, very fascinating.
Eugene Burnett came home with almost 1 million other black GIs. They had fought for the country in segregated ranks. They returned hoping for equality and the American dream. For many, that dream was a new home for little money down and some of the easiest credit terms in history.
I went up to the salesman. We're interested in your home, we're interested in buying one, and what is the procedure? Is there an application to be filled out? So forth. So he looked at me, looked around, and he said to me, he says, listen, it's not me, but the owners of this development have not as yet decided to sell these homes to Negroes.
It was as though it wasn't real. You can't imagine. But for someone to come out and actually tell you that they can't sell to you, you know, I was really on a, oh man, look at this house. Can you imagine having this? And then for them to tell me because of the color of my skin, I can't be a part of it?
The FHA underwriters warned that the presence of even 1 or 2 non-white families could undermine real estate values in the new suburbs. These government guidelines were widely adopted by private industry. Race had long played a role in local real estate practices. Starting in the 1930s, government officials institutionalized the national appraisal system, where race was as much a factor in real estate assessment as the condition of the property. Using this scheme, federal investigators evaluated 239 cities across the country for financial risk.
So those communities that were all white, suburban, and far away from minority areas, they received the highest rating, and that was the color green. Those communities that were all minority or in the process of changing, they got the lowest rating, and the color red. They were redlined. As a consequence, most of the mortgages went to suburbanizing America, and it suburbanized it racially.
The racial logic adopts the principle that an integrated neighborhood is a bad risk, is a financial risk, that an integrated neighborhood is likely to be an unstable neighborhood, unstable socially, but therefore also unstable economically.
When the white residents of 8 Mile Road in Detroit were told they were too close to a black neighborhood to qualify for a positive FHA rating, they built this 6-foot wall between themselves and their black neighbors. Once the wall went up, mortgages on the white properties were approved. Between 1934 and 1962, the federal government underwrote $120 billion in new housing. Less than 2% went to non-whites.
I can understand an individual, depending on his environment or his family or whatever, being racist, but for your country to sanction it, give him tools to do that, there's something definitely wrong there.
Okay, so basically you guys can see just how extreme it actually was, that some built walls to keep away the different areas, and that they were asked to do this to figure out the security in the different areas, and it quickly became a racial discrimination. And in conclusion, we just as white citizens have so many privileges as American citizens, and I think we just need to use the text that we're reading, Waking Up White, and the redlining, just all the history behind that, and just realize all the stereotypes that go behind that, and just try and make a difference and realize what has gone on because of that, and just try and make a difference. And something that they said in chapter 6 that was really, it stood out to me. She said that racism is a humanity robbing system, and I just think that was really powerful, and I think that's something that stood out to me, and I think that as a class that we could all take that in and can all look at it differently and just look at it differently and grow on that.
All right, thank you.